By the end of this video, you'll be able to answer the trickiest question in any English job interview. What's your greatest weakness? With a calm, confident answer that actually makes the recruiter trust you more. Not a fake weakness, not a nervous mess. A real professional answer you can memorize and reuse. Let's get into it. Here's the mistake almost every non-native speaker makes. When they hear, "What's your greatest weakness?" they do one of two things. Either they panic and confess something that kills their chances, "I'm always late," or "I have trouble working with people," or they try to be clever with the old trick answer, "My weakness is that I'm a perfectionist," and every recruiter on the planet has heard that one 1,000 times. It sounds fake, it sounds rehearsed, it tells them nothing. The recruiter isn't actually asking about your flaws. They're testing something else. Are you self-aware? Are you honest? And most importantly, are you doing something about it? That's the whole game. So today I'll give you the exact phrases to show all three in natural spoken English. Let me show you what that sounds like. Let's listen to a short interview. Maria is applying for a project coordinator role. Notice how she doesn't hide her weakness. She frames it.
So, Maria, let me ask you the classic one. What would you say is your greatest weakness?
That's a fair question. To be honest, I used to struggle with delegating. In my first role, I tended to take on too much myself because I wanted everything to be perfect.
Okay, and how did that show up day to day?
Well, I'd end up staying late finishing tasks that a teammate could have handled. It wasn't sustainable, and honestly, it slowed the whole team down.
So, what changed?
I realized I had to trust my colleagues more, so I started assigning clear tasks with deadlines. And I made a point of checking in instead of taking over. It's still something I work on, but I've come a long way.
That's good to hear. Can you give me a concrete example?
Sure. On my last project, I handed the client reporting to a junior colleague completely. I just reviewed the final version. She grew a lot, and I finally had time to focus on the bigger picture.
I appreciate the honesty. That's exactly what I like to hear.
Perfect. Now let's break down the phrases. Maria did something powerful. She told the truth, but she controlled the story. Let's pull out the exact language so you can do the same. Phrase 1. That's a fair question. This is your opening move. Instead of freezing, you buy yourself 2 seconds and sound confident. It signals, "I'm comfortable, ask me anything." You can also say, "That's a good question, but fair sounds a little more mature and grounded." Use it right after any tough question. Phrase 2. To be honest, I used to struggle with. This is the heart of the whole answer. Two magic words here. Used to. Used to struggle means it was a problem in the past. It's not who you are now. You're admitting a real weakness while quietly telling the recruiter you've grown out of it. Compare, "I struggle with delegating," wait, and present, still a problem day, with, "I used to struggle with delegating." Hear the difference. One worries them, the other reassures them. Phrase 3. I tended to take on too much myself. "I tended to" is softer and more professional than "I always." It describes a habit without sounding dramatic, and "take on too much" is a fantastic natural weakness to admit. It shows you're hardworking, just a little too much. Notice she explains the why. "Because I wanted everything to be perfect." That's honest, not the fake "I'm a perfectionist" line, because she's about to show the downside. Phrase 4. It wasn't sustainable. This is a high-level business phrase, and it makes you sound senior. Sustainable means something that can continue over the long term. When you say "it wasn't sustainable," you're showing You understand the real cost of your weakness, not just for you, but for the team. Recruiters love this. It shows business thinking. Phrase 5. I realized I had to. This is the turning point of your answer, the pivot. Everything before this is the problem. Everything after is the solution. I realized I had to trust my colleagues more, shows self awareness in action. Always include this pivot. Weakness, then I realized, then what you changed. That structure is your whole answer. Phrase 6. I made a point of checking in. To make a point of doing something means you did it deliberately, on purpose, consistently. It's much stronger than I tried to check in. It shows discipline. Use this phrase whenever you want to describe a habit you built intentionally. I made a point of asking for feedback. I made a point of arriving early. Phrase 7. It's still something I work on, but I've come a long way. This is beautifully honest. She doesn't pretend she's cured. Saying, it's still something I work on, makes you believable. Nobody trusts a person with zero weaknesses. And I've come a long way closes it on a confident, upward note. This combination, still working on it but improving, is the perfect emotional tone for this whole answer. Phrase 8. To give you a concrete example, no. When a recruiter asks, can you give me an example? This is your lead in. Concrete means specific and real, not vague. Interviewers always want proof, so prepare one short story in advance. The formula: what you handed over, what you did instead, and the positive result. She grew a lot, and I had time to focus on the bigger picture. So the full shape of a great answer is: acknowledge honestly, explain the cost, pivot with I realized, show the action, and finish with a concrete example: weakness, cost, change, proof. Now, 3 mistakes to avoid, and the third one catches almost everybody. Mistake 1, the fake weakness. I'm a perfectionist. I work too hard. I care too much. Recruiters hear these as dodges. If you won't admit a real weakness, they assume you can't see your own. Pick something genuine but not fatal for the job. Mistake 2, the confession with no recovery. Telling the truth is good, but stopping at the problem is dangerous. I'm disorganized. Full stop. That's a red flag. Every weakness you mention must be followed by I realized I had to, and the action you took. No pivot, no answer. Mistake 3, and this is the big one: choosing a weakness that's essential to the job. Never admit a weakness that's the core of the role. Don't tell a sales interviewer you hate talking to strangers. Don't tell an accounting team you're careless with numbers. Choose a weakness that's real, but on the edge of the role, not at its center. Let's lock these in. Repeat each one out loud after me. Say it. Don't just read it. This is how it sticks. That's a fair question. To be honest, I used to struggle with. I tended to take on too much myself. It wasn't sustainable. I realized I had to. I made a point of checking in. It's still something I work on, but I've come a long way. To give you a concrete example, now here's your challenge. Take one real weakness of your own and build the full answer: honest admission, the cost, I realized I had to, the action, and a concrete example. Say it out loud 3 times before your next interview. Write your weakness in the comments. I read them, and I'll reply with feedback. If this helped you feel a little more ready, do two quick things. Hit subscribe. Every week, I break down one more real English situation for work and interviews so you're never caught off guard. And download the free PDF with all 8 of today's phrases, plus example answers you can adapt. The link is in the description. Print it, keep it near you, practice before the interview. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.